Welcome to Wednesday night satsang. In Unity, we teach the spiritual principles of abundance and prosperity. When we live the consciousness of sufficiency, we experience true financial freedom. Learn more from Reverend Michael about the power of enough at 11 o'clock Sunday morning. At our 9:45 Spanish language service, Claudia Olmos talks about breaking our identification with the body of pain in order to live from the conscious presence. Join them as they continue their study on the wisdom of Eckhart Tolle and discover the peace that comes from freeing ourselves. Sunday afternoon, award-winning author and artist Denise Bossert will teach how to make 4 custom coasters with the pour painting technique. Let's tap into our spiritual power of imagination together from 1 to 2 p.m. No experience necessary, and all supplies are provided. Space is limited, so register today at unityhouston.org. Twice a month, Unity in the Community partners with the Houston Food Bank to provide food for around 1,000 families in our community. If you're looking for a volunteer opportunity that is fun, inspiring, and filled with meaningful connections, lend a hand next week on June 8th. You can sign up on our website under the Unity in the Community page. If you have a photo you'd like to include in our upcoming Father's Day video, please submit your photo to Jen Dickey no later than Monday, June 6th. You can email her at jdickey@unityhouston.org. And next week for Wednesday night satsang, we'll explore with Reverend Jean Marie the process of awakening to the new earth and the next stages of the evolution of consciousness on this planet in her talk, The Awakened Life. Namaste.
Breathe and relax as we turn within and center into the awareness of the movement of life energy within. Noticing that at the very point of your being is stillness, is peace. Arising out of that stillness and peace is an awareness of something new being awakened within you. New realizations, new expressions, a new earth being born. Feeling your spirit uplifted, knowing that no matter what is going on in the world or in your life, that this movement of spirit, this life and love energy, cannot help but express as you and be revealed as your unfolding, as your transformational energy of your becoming. We're grateful for this realization that sets us free. And so it is. Amen. And so we bring that joy into our time of chanting as we sing, Be Still and Know, and remember the very truth of God's presence in and through and as us, right here in this moment.
Be still and know I am God.
Be still Be still and know I am God. 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 And so we move into our mantra chant, an ancient yogic chant, Om Namo Gurudev Namo. I bow to the infinite creative wisdom within, allowing that to be revealed as we sing. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev
And so I just invite you now to reposition yourself slightly and to a more comfortable and alert position. You might want to stretch your spine just a little bit and have the top of your head just kind of move a little closer, pointed more towards the ceiling. Moving your shoulders, opening, relaxing and allowing perfect balance between right and left, front and back. Just relaxing and allowing your arms to hang from your shoulders, your hands resting empty in your lap. And positioning your hips in the seat you've chosen. Allowing yourself now to feel that balance and that easy setting. Allowing your feet to rest comfortably, extended beneath you or folded. And we breathe now, breathing into our heart center, relaxing around that breath and allowing it to move fully out and be replaced by breathing fully inward. Just watch yourself moving with the inward breath and allowing the outward breath to be equal in length, fullness. Continuing in this way, you may wish to do a little survey of your physical self. In the head, forehead, temple area, the top of your head, the back, down your neck, moving through, down the spine, into the torso, watching the breath move gently in and all the way out. Noticing any constriction, any tightness, gently move and relax and release. And allow yourself to just be present to the beating of your own heart, this moment in time. Breathing into your heart center. And allowing yourself now to feel any feelings around your heart. Without thought, without idea, just notice, awake and alert, with your inward vision. Allow yourself to be conscious of just the smooth breath coming in and leaving your body. How natural, how easy. Watching, aware, allowing. there is any pain or discomfort, just bless it and breathe through it. No need to make anything of it, understand it, or know it. Just be with it. Allow it. And watch as it shifts and changes with each breath. And where the flow within you moves. Draw in with your breath love. Love that comes from an infinite source. And breathing out peace to bless the world. Breathing in love. And breathing out peace. Breathing, letting go, and bring to mind a person in your life that you are holding in your prayer time. See them surrounded in love and healed with love. And reconciled in peace. And with each breath, bless them, letting them go, knowing they are enough and have what they need. Breathing, letting go, be here now. And so we take another deep breath in, release, allow, let go, and know that the peace that passes understanding is infilling your body temple now, your heart, your mind, your sweet spirit, blessed, whole, one with all. And so it is, and all is well. Amen.
So beautiful to be together in this space on this amazing day. We've been blessed with such beautiful weather and feeling the warmth of summer approaching, school ending. What a glorious time of the year. And so we have the opportunity now to celebrate life by giving into this ministry. And I say that because as we give, we know that our gifts go to create the kind of celebratory experiences that we have here. And even when we join together to process things that are difficult and to do healing work, that it is transformative. And every transformation and healing is a blessing and something to celebrate. So we give thanks in advance for your gifts this evening here in the pyramid and online. Thank you for knowing that as you give, you receive, and it continues to go out into the world and bless others with the sharing of these teachings and the joy of our unity community that we've created on this campus and globally online. And so let's join together as we hold our blessings in our hands and our hearts in our offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive, and so it is. Lately I've been noticing how much I've been blessed with people to love, some peace of mind and happiness. It makes me want to pass along this love I've received as a way of giving thanks for what's been given to me. I've got a strong heart. I've got a strong love. And I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. Ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. I used to have a lust for more that bordered on greed, till I looked around and saw that I had all that I need. I thought I had to have it all before I could share, till I realized what's mine to give has always been there. I've got a strong heart. I've got a strong love. And I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. Ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. I may not make a difference that the whole world can see, but if I can show more kindness, that's what matters to me. I'm changing on the outside, finding gray in my hair, but the difference on the inside is that I don't care. I'm losing my desire to be what I'm not, and I got what I want now that I want what I got. I got a strong heart. I got a strong love. And I'm ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. Ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in. Ready to use the gifts I've been given to make this world a better place to live in.
Thank you, Jean Marie and David, for that. That was a great start. And this is a wonderful way for us to move into this segment of our study of A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Tonight I am talking about your inner purpose, and it's fascinating the way that he navigates this, because he actually goes directly into inner purpose and outer purpose. And he says this, he says, your life has an inner purpose and an outer purpose. Inner purpose concerns being, the beingness. And he says that's primary. Whereas the outer purpose concerns doing and is secondary. So inner and outer purpose, however, are so intertwined that it's almost impossible to speak of one without referring to the other. An inner purpose. So what he's basically saying and bringing to our awareness is that our inner purpose is a shared purpose of all humanity. We have one inner purpose, and that is to be, and to be present, and to be aware, and to bring our consciousness to bear on everything that we do. Something that comes from an infinite source from deep within us, our authentic self, the Christ self, the light of us, however you want to describe it, whatever name or word means that to you. It's your present moment awareness. And the outer purpose, now that's what gets varied and changes sometimes, changes throughout our lifetimes. We do this for a while, or we show up in this way, we learn about that, we bring another aspect of ourselves into being, but they are meant to be harmonious with each other. The inner purpose fuels and is revealed through outer purpose. He says it this way, your inner purpose is to awaken. He says, see the same purpose as for every other human being and the purpose of humanity. All humans are destined to awaken. It's our heritage, it's where we're headed. He says, your outer purpose can change over time. It varies greatly from person to person. Finding and living in alignment with the inner purpose is the foundation for fulfilling your outer purpose. It is the basis for true success. In other words, when we work with an eternal part of us, no matter what it is we're doing in the outer, how simple, how complex, how intellectual, how mundane, how easy, how hard, how far, how wide, it really doesn't matter what the outer purpose task is or how it is that we're expressing. It only matters what we're expressing with. He says, see, without this alignment between inner and outer purpose, you can go ahead and struggle. You can set a goal for yourself using effort, determination, hard work to attain goals. But there's no joy in it. Even if there's success, even if your ego is pleased, even if you get fame and fortune and success in it, the joy, though, that comes from an infinite place really isn't there unless you are also in harmony with bringing your inner purpose into being through that work. And inevitably, you'll find that if you do it without that, there's also some form of suffering or some ending or something that falls through, falls apart. It's an ego-driven purpose in that regard, when it isn't in alignment with your true self, with your authentic self. He talks about awakening as being a way for us to recognize when we are in alignment with that inner purpose. He says awakening is a shift in consciousness in which thinking and awareness separate. That's awakening. Awakening is when we realize I am not my thoughts. We've been studying that throughout this series, thinking of how we can be aware of our thoughts but not in them, not carried away by them, aware of our ego but not allowing our ego to run us, and trying to practice becoming more and more aware of that in daily lives, and knowing when it is that we are actually feeling joy, peace, relaxation, open in a sense of kind of freedom and liberation. Those are the hallmarks of when we are actually in a state of awareness. So it's not really awakening this separation, this awareness between I'm thinking and I'm aware. This awakened state of seeing the difference is not, he says, a single event in most people's lives, but a process that evolves over time. Even for those rare occasions that awakening occurs as an event, it takes time to integrate and navigate away from the habits of thinking and allowing awareness and presence to be one's most frequent state of consciousness. So what he says here is that it is a practice. And while we don't initiate that split, that awareness, that insight, that seeing suddenly where things, where I see that's not me doing the thinking, I'm still over here somehow. And then we practice finding that distinction, finding that awareness. It takes practice and it takes dedication. He also says the initiation of the awakening process is an act of grace. You cannot make it happen, nor can you prepare yourself for it or accumulate credits toward it. There isn't a tidy sequence of logical steps that leads toward it, although the mind would love that. You don't have to become worthy first either. It may come to the sinner before the saint, but not necessarily. That's why Jesus associated with all kinds of people, not just the respectable ones. There's nothing you can do about awakening. Whatever you do will be the ego, trying to add awakening or enlightenment to itself as its most prized possession, and thereby making itself more important and bigger. Sounds like darned if you do and darned if you don't, right? Instead of awakening, you add the concept of awakening to your mind, or the mental image of what an awakened or enlightened person is like. So now you have a new impossible model to emulate. And you imagine, well, I imagine the Buddha probably said it like this, or enlightenment must have been like that, or Jesus always did this. So living up to an image that you have of yourself or that other people have of you is inauthentic living. And that doesn't take you there at all. Another unconscious role that the ego plays. I know you're about to throw me out, or you're about ready to leave, but we've locked the doors, so you're not going to be able to leave. And those of you on there, stay. Just listen. It'll be worth it. You don't want to go away with a bummer right now. You want to be lifted, so I promise something will come for you. You're throwing your hands up and telling me, I'm out, Karen. You and Reverend Jean Marie have been telling me all this time to stop thinking and be instead, and now you learn there's nothing you're working toward all this time. But in fact, there's something more. Only the first awakening, he says, the first glimpse of consciousness without thought happens by grace, without any doing on your part. If you find this incomprehensible or meaningless, he says it hasn't happened to you yet. If something within you responds to it, however, if you somehow recognize the truth in what you're hearing, it means the process of awakening has begun. And now it's just a practice. For some people, reading the book that he's written will begin the awakening process. For others, it's the practice of recognizing that the ego as being distinct from ourselves that will initiate the awakening. And suddenly there's an awareness that is aware of thought, but is not part of it. Awareness is the space in which thoughts exist when that space has become conscious of itself. So here's what it really is, folks. Lean in. You finally have a conscious choice to be present and aware rather than to indulge in useless thinking. That's the long and short of it right there. Your conscious choice that now that you realize thinking is not who you are and not what you do, but rather something that is thinking in order to keep you monopolized and busy, that if you can recognize whatever it will take you out of your thoughts and out of the habits of thought, I'll say it 100 more times, step outside the door, walk into nature, there's a story already happening around you. Go and step into something that's already in motion and practice simply being aware to it. Notice it, feel it, allow it, pay attention to it. You won't be thinking anymore, you'll be engaged. Stay alert, stay aware, breathe, allow yourself to know. Let's see. If you follow the useless thinking, you'll be working on behalf of the goals of ego that are driving us, measuring us against others, lofty goals to change the world with our ideas and our effort. And even while they're laudable, and even though they are necessary and important, sometimes the ego gets too attached. And they really aren't being driven by our inner purpose, because that's where our authentic self is striving to move through everything that we do. These are good directions to apply ourselves if our hearts call us, but there isn't a measurable difference that will bring us joy or change the world, because that's an ego goal. Think instead, I brought up one time about wordlessness, another technique of just moving. I described it like you drop down below the water, where you're just aware of what's going on. You step outside, you're aware of what's going on. You can be aware right in this room right now. You can feel the air around you. You can have an open-eyed meditation, in a sense, of being conscious and aware. Being aware even at your work, even when you're on duty, even when you have other roles to play, that your awareness can be paying attention to one person at a time, to be paying attention to one thing that you're doing and fully engaged in. Just allow yourself to be completely aware of what it is that you're bringing to it, and feel the opening of your heart through it, and the gratitude that you have to be able to express yourself this way, to be present to this person who is themselves another expression of love in the world. Thinking of wordlessness is like walking in a forest and watching what is, awake and alert in your body, in the room, in the conversation, aware of your heart, breathing slowly and fully, feeling yourself present here and now. Do everything like this from this place. That's what you're being called to. Wow. I mean, and every time you realize that, you've gone off and done something else, that's okay. Just come back. Just keep coming back. Just keep waking up. Just keep... I'm sorry, I wasn't hearing what you said. Could you repeat that for me again? Now I'm with you. Now I'm back. Now I'm here. Right? There's an alignment of the inner and the outer purpose. This is really the thing. This is really what it's all about. What he says is, opening yourself to the emerging consciousness and bringing its light into the world then becomes the primary purpose of your life. He quotes Einstein, who said, I want to know the mind of God. Because Einstein follows that by saying, because the rest are details. And Tale says, what is the mind of God? Consciousness. What does it mean to know the mind of God? To be aware. What are the details? your outer purpose, and whatever happens outwardly, out here, whatever it is you're doing, whatever you're about, whatever is your assignment for now, whatever your heart has called you to do, whatever your calling is, how you're expressing yourself in the world, that's your outer purpose, that's visible. But it should always be done from the authentic self, this universal part of us that is infilling it and making it meaningful. You know, the Buddhists say it in a different way. They say, you know, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. I'm sure you've heard that. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. It isn't that your outer purpose necessarily changes with your awareness. It's that now that you chop wood and carry water, you're awake, you're alert. You are bringing life into expression. You're bringing light into the world through the simplest task, through the most necessary thing for sustenance. The same thing you've done hundreds, thousands of times before, asleep, is now different, and it takes on a whole new meaning. Now you see, it isn't what you do that matters, it's what you do it with that matters. It is your awareness, it is your awakeness, it is your decision to be, and your intention to serve, your intention to love, to bless, to bring peace. How can you be peace today? Starting to get a sense of purpose now? Beware that some grand and noble purpose or calling, some great ill to correct in your lifetime, these are often spiritualized egos calling, not really life or God calling you. I'm not here to judge what, you know, programs you're attracted to, or charities that you give to, or that you participate in your time. None of that. It isn't to discourage you from that at all, but rather just to be aware of how am I doing it? What am I bringing to it? And am I bringing the depth of my authentic self into it? Do I really think I'm going to change the world in my lifetime? Maybe. But if you don't, have you failed? Did you not do enough of it? Do it right? Do it good? It's whatever we bring. It's what we bless with. It's how we serve the world. Following your heart to begin a work, follow your heart when you know that the time has come to end it as well and move on to another thing. Even if there's much remaining to do. Do you see? It isn't that there's a goal that you're here to do in the outer world, in the outer way. It's that your goal really should be to bring all of you to every living moment. That's the blessing. That's the thing. Jesus left unhealed people in almost every story when they followed him out into the desert to listen to him for days. He would leave unhealed people and go and renew himself and go up to the mountaintop and pray, or get into the boat and cross over to the lake and rest with his disciples. He left unhealed people because he wasn't trying to heal every single person on the earth by placing his hands on them. He was there to be the Christ, and he was doing that everywhere, right? I know that I have a sense of knowing, for me, what was my next right thing. You probably got similar stories in your life. I followed my heart when I knew that I needed to leave my career in healthcare to become a Unity minister. It wasn't a great career move on the outside of it. I actually had a pretty good job, and I was well regarded, and I really loved it, and I wasn't looking for a career change. But the calling became so intense that I knew I had to do this thing. I had to go. When I completed it, I came back and was here, and this is my home church, and I got to work here for a while, as you all know, or many of you do. And again, I knew when the right time was to leave. I didn't love the congregation any less. I didn't love my job any less. I just knew that I had reached a point that I had to step away. I had to go and do something else. And in that time period, I went into chaplaincy with a hospice, and that changed me and changed my ministry in a very profound way. And then I got to go and lead a ministry in New Braunfels, Texas, and relocate to Central Texas, where I also felt the calling strong. And I knew when to leave. And I knew that if it was time for me to leave, it was time for them to let me go as well. I didn't love them any less. I was just complete. If I overstayed, that would have been the crime, the sin. To overstay is when things start to go sour and south. So knowing your heart is always going to take you where you need to be next, and always taking you in the next way. And you don't have to worry about what will sustain you. You know, my husband says, yeah, great, good, lucky for you. You had a husband who was working. You could take all these little, diversions or whatever. He's right. I am so grateful for that. He's absolutely right about that. And I have no doubt that even if I were single, I would have had another way to have made a living or to do something that would have been taking me in the direction that my soul was calling me. You don't get one without the other. You get the support. That's how you know. That's why the ego doesn't have to do it for us or have it all planned out. We don't have to hold ourselves by that. It doesn't mean that all the work has to be great and noble and world-changing by its nature. It just means that it has to be something that is calling you, something that is you're feeling fulfilled by. Because it isn't what you do that changes the world. It's what you do it with that does. Moment by moment dedication, awareness to the work you're doing. It is the consciousness, it is the love with which we do the work that changes the world, not the doing of the work itself. Consider that. Recognize that the most important work you have is to wake up to who you are and what you're bringing and where your light is shining brightest. Maureen Muldoon says, enlightenment is when we allow ourselves to melt like a sugar cube into the hot tea of God. Try that one on. Namaste.
Ooh, you left us with a good one, Karen. I'm ready to melt into that tea.
The hot tea of God.
So, yeah, I thought it was so intriguing about how he shared in the chapter that when we try to find meaning in our past, boy, is that a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how you shared about how you followed your guidance and it took you in these different places to share your work, your purpose, to do that work. And so I think about that when I get hung up in something going on and I start looking backwards and how did that happen and why did I make that choice and stuff. And it's like, well, my purpose is to, my purpose is to show up as love right here and now, and that whatever thing I'm worrying about in the future, it's only ever going to happen now. So I show up as love and light and present and do what's mine to do then. And then.
Exactly. I mean, at HEB, like wherever, whatever. We like I said, we have this grandiose idea that unless we are on purpose and that we have a great purpose and that our purpose actually is a career, that we can make a living doing it. Some of us are blessed that we can match an outer purpose with a career, but it's not essential and it's not necessary, and there can be a lot of ways we spend our time. The essence is that no matter where you spend your time, in every moment, your inner purpose is to bring love and to bring peace and to bring all of that. I mean, if we just really allowed ourselves to fall back and focus on that, then what we do with our hands and how we go about it will be a joy all the time and bring joy all the time.
Your talk title is about the inner purpose, and you spoke a lot about that. And it had a quality of it being universal, that we share an inner purpose, and that it is inherent in who we are. And our opportunity is to be awake to that, or to not, but it's on. It just is all the time. And I found myself thinking, well, it's also a matter of identification. Like if I identify with my inner purpose, and I actually am really focused on how that is my expression, then that will inform my outer purpose, I suppose. But if I am identifying with the outer purpose, and I am with the ego-based, perhaps, outcomes of my life, what it looks like, what I'm achieving, what it feels like, those external measures, then that may or may not have anything to do with my inner purpose, because I'm identifying with something that is inauthentic.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's exactly the point I think that he's making, is that it doesn't matter what you do in the outer at all. Really, at all. You're going to do something. You're gonna be called. You're gonna get curious. You're gonna need to make a living. You need to get busy. You need to do things. All of that's going to happen, and it will be for pieces of time. But the real thing is always going to be the light that shines. When I was in ministerial school, when I was really trying to get that embodiment of that, there were times when I would be in meditation and I would feel that there was like a warmth coming from my hands, right? Or the tops of my feet for some reason. And I would just feel like this warmth or like this heat. And I began to imagine that it was that light that was shining, and that everywhere I went, there was light shining in the world, because I'm a portal for that. And I began to I stopped fighting it. I stopped rationalizing it. I stopped trying to, oh yeah, you're just making this up, blah, 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 all that kind of thing. I just decided that it is the truth. I believe it. I'm going to teach it. And if that's the case, then how would I act if I knew myself that way? Right. If I knew that my words convey, that my body brings light, that I am that light, that I am actually love in action. And what if I remembered that more often?
Well, unfortunately, we can't lose it for long. I mean, it's a little hide and seek that it's sort of like the pleasure of the body. It's the pleasure of the mind that you can forget that you are a divine incarnation of the Divine One that is expressed uniquely as Karen Tudor. And, you might forget that for a moment, but you can't forget it for long. I assert that that's true of everybody. Even the sloppiest of us in our moments is that God, too, is being expressed through that. If God wanted it to be any other way, it would be that way.
Yes, yes. It was that part that you shared about Jesus and his disciples and how he hung out with all kinds of people, because as Tolle said, the sinner or the saint, there's no choosing of how who's going to awaken first and how it's going to happen, because it's not ego driven at all. So we can let go of the comparisons and the hierarchies and know that it's going to happen upon its own. And that he said, if you read the book and it's confusing to you and it makes no sense, then perhaps you're not quite awakened and open to the path. But if there's something that resonates, and as it must be for those of us who are drawn here to hear this tonight, that's a sign that it's begun, the process has begun. And that, at least I know in my ego structure, there's that thought that, oh, I have to strive to make it to something, right? Like be something, whatever that is, that changes over time of what that could be. And he said that that's really like hollow. It's just hollow, right? And so that's something from the chapter that I'm really taking with me, is that more of what the way that you demonstrated and what you shared about your life, and being that presence, the beingness, rather than to think, well, it's out there that the enlightenment comes, because it also is attached to some king of the hill thing that other people have to be not succeed in order for you to succeed. So it was intriguing.
Yeah, exactly right. Or that we're all predicated. We're all called. We're all brought into it. We do teach that. We do think that. But there's a lot of different ways of living on this planet, aren't there?
Right. I was trying to reconcile what we're saying in lofty terms, in terms of a macrocosm of these concepts, because there's a lot to finger wag at right now, to be sad about, to be disappointed about, on a grand level, and it requires a curiosity and a willingness just to stay in the question of, well, how is God being expressed in this circumstance? And right on the heels of that, and what is mine to do?
And we're witness to it. You know, it isn't something that is outside of us. We are a part of it. Right. And when we hold witness, that's an important role. You know, to be spared the immediacy of the loss gives us the ability to stand and remember the truth. You know.
Mm-hmm. Even small action is part of the change. It's not insignificant just because I went to vote, or I wrote a letter to a representative. You know, it's all part of the collective transformation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love the way both of you have said that what we do, grand, small, and different, is a consequence of being in touch with our inner purpose, and then just doing everything from that space. That's meaningful. I can walk away with that.
Exactly. I think that's the reminder, right? Because all these lofty terms of awakening, enlightenment, blah blah blah. I mean, I don't profess to have any of that, and I forget it all the time. And you know, I get caught up in all kinds of activities and actions and disappointments and you know, all of that. And I'm raising grandchildren right now, and let me tell you, if you could think you can forget who you are in this split of a moment, it's really when you're raising children. But it really is so funny, because it also in a moment shifts, and suddenly they reflect something back to me, and then I realize that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing. And and my light, I'm sure, shines a little bit more. My love definitely flows, It just, I like what you said. You said we can't forget very long, right? I would have argued we could, but you're right. There's so many reminders that reflect it back as to how lucky we are, how blessed we are, who we are.
Yeah, so let's move into prayer. And so we center within once again, recognizing that which has been awakened within us in this time together. What energy is moving and shifting and opening. And we recognize in our hearts that there are situations that are troubling in our world and perhaps in our personal lives as well, that we want to shine a light on, that we want to see in its wholeness and send a blessing and upliftment. And so this is the time where we speak those names of those who we would like held in prayer into the sacred space that we've created here, knowing that through the power of the vibration of our voices, that blessings are sent out, that love is unfolding, and that peace resounds. And so let's speak those names into this space now. We're grateful in knowing that God already knows the details. And God is in the details. God is at work in these lives and in these situations. And that our prayers do indeed make a difference. That the love that we are and the light that we are uplifts others, uplifts the world as we express it. And so we commit to go into the rest of this day and the rest of this week with hearts open, with minds receptive, the willingness to serve. Thank you, God. Amen.
And now let us offer our prayer for the welfare of all beings and speak our metta practice together. By the power of this practice, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they know the sacred joy that arises in the space beyond suffering. May they rest in equanimity that knows no grasping or hatred. May they experience the equality of all beings. May my practice be of benefit to all.
Namaste, namaste, I bow to you. Namaste, 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 go shine your light into the world. Namaste, namaste, the light in me sees the light in you. Namaste, namaste, go shine your light into the world. Namaste, namaste.